If you want to be successful and you want to be happy, those are the two things that's common to most people. You're looking at a person who was neither one of those for a long period in my life, man. It's a lot of pain in my life. No more than nobody else. I just had a lot. What I learned along the way, everything that's happening to you is God is processing. Every difficult moment you're having, He just processing it. That's all He's doing. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked God for. And if you need to be tough when you get to where you're going, then He gonna toughen you. If you gotta be more caring along the way, He gonna let you have some trials come your way that's gonna have to produce that in you. What happened in my life was getting where I've gotten to today and where I'm even headed to, I had to be tough. So He toughened me along the way. I had to learn how to appreciate a lot, so He took everything. To really understand the value of money, I had none. To just appreciate simple things, what I'm gonna eat today, where I'm gonna wash up at, where I'm gonna bathe. He sent me through a trial of being homeless for 3 years. I lived in a car for 3 years. All of that I was going through, that I was tripping with, that I did not appreciate or understand, I understand it now, because I'm on the other side of them troubles. And I understand what all them troubles was for. And even though I did not understand or appreciate the route He took me on, it was the route I had to go on. See, the route you're on right now is the route you got to take. And it's very uniquely yours. This thing you're going through, this just uniquely yours. You just got to understand you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one going through it. Now, in the order that it's going to happen, it's just yours.
We all face setbacks in life and things we don't understand. When we go through loss and disappointments, it's easy to get discouraged and think that's the way it's always going to be. But our God is a God of restoration. He doesn't stop every difficulty. He doesn't keep us from every challenge. But He did promise He would pay us back for the wrongs. He would restore what was stolen. David said in Psalm 71, "You have allowed me to suffer much hardship, but you will restore me to even greater honor." The suffering is a setup. God allowed the difficulty not to make you miserable, but to restore you to greater honor. God never brings you out the same. He makes the enemy pay for bringing the trouble. When you're in tough times, you have to remind yourself that is not how your story ends. That loneliness, the bad break, the anxiety is not your destiny. Greater is coming. Greater joy, greater strength, greater relationships. That setback in your finances, the client you lost, the unfair childhood, that didn't stop your purpose. Greater opportunities are coming. Greater favor, greater influence. The enemy brought it to set you back. He didn't realize it's setting you up for God to show out in your life. He meant it for your harm. God's turning it to your advantage. When you're in difficult times, keep this phrase in your spirit. Greater is coming. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He wouldn't have allowed it if it was going to keep you from your destiny. Just the opposite. It's going to launch you into your destiny. Paul said, "These light afflictions are for a moment, but they are working in us an eternal weight of glory." The trouble is temporary. The glory is permanent. The key is don't stay focused on the suffering. Stay focused on the glory that's coming.
See, God made us very different. This God we got, God is amazing. He created you so individually. Do you know that there's close to 8 billion people on earth now? Do you know that there's almost 8 billion people on the earth? Do you know how many billions of people have died? Do you know that if you dig up all them people that have died, and all the people that are presently here, and every last one of them that he gonna make in the future, not one of you have the same fingerprint? Who do that? Who could possibly be so precise in his infinite wisdom that he created you so uniquely that ain't no two people got the same fingerprint? That's crazy, man. That's real crazy. 8 billion people, you can't duplicate it. The billions that done died, you can't duplicate it. And the ones that's coming will not duplicate it. God a bad boy, man. He's a bad boy.
It may be tough right now. Life has dealt you an unfair hand. That suffering is not in vain. It's serving a purpose. It's leading you to greater honor, greater favor, greater victories. I love David's attitude. God, you've allowed me to suffer much hardship. He could have stopped there and stayed focused on the bad breaks. God, I don't understand it. Why did my father leave me in the shepherd's fields? Why is King Saul trying to kill me? Instead, David said in effect, God, I've had a lot of bad breaks. I've gone through much suffering, but I know this, you will restore me to greater honor. He was thanking God for greater in the middle of the difficulty. When you're in tough times, you can either talk about how big the problem is, or you can talk about how big your God is. And if you're going to see the greater, you have to do like David. In the middle of the difficulty, start declaring, greater is coming. The medical report doesn't look good. While you're taking the treatment, Lord, thank you that greater health is coming. Thank you that the number of my days you will fulfill. When you're fighting depression, anxiety, fear, don't sit around thinking about how you're never going to get better. No, in the middle of the battle, Father, thank you that greater joy is coming. Thank you that you're pushing back forces of darkness. Your attitude in the suffering will determine whether you come out with greater or whether you stay where you are. 1 Peter says, after you have suffered a little while. I'm not saying that if you have faith, you'll never have suffering, never have things you don't understand. But keep the right perspective. The suffering is not permanent. After you have suffered a little while, not your whole life, not the next 20 years. Don't believe those lies that what you're going through is never going to change. You'll always struggle with the addiction. You'll always have to deal with that illness. Always have trouble at work. No, the suffering is not going to last. It didn't come to stay. It came to pass. What God started in your life, He is going to finish. But here's the key. To see the greater, you have to go through the suffering. I would love to tell you that greater comes by just being positive, by just staying in faith. But there are certain levels you can only reach by going through some things. Now, don't get stuck in the suffering. Don't live bitter because somebody walked away. Don't settle into depression thinking that's your lot in life. Keep an attitude of faith and go through it. Keep believing when every thought tells you it's never going to change. Keep talking like it's going to happen when nothing is improving. Keep speaking God's favor when it seems like you're wasting your time. The suffering is a test. It's an opportunity to show God that you are not going to get discouraged. You're not going to give up on your dreams. You're not going to lose your passion. The scripture goes on to say, after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to His eternal glory, will Himself restore you, strengthen you, and establish you. God has already called you to live a victorious life. He's already called you to overcome every obstacle. The Creator of the universe chose you before you could choose Him. The forces that are trying to stop you are no match for the God who has already called you. Now do like David, go through the suffering with a good attitude. If you'll keep the right perspective, then God himself will restore you. That means he won't send the angels. He won't ask Gabriel to do it, but the Most High God will suddenly turn things around. He will suddenly heal, suddenly promote, suddenly deliver. Now, many of you have passed this test. You've been doing the right thing, suffering with a smile, praising through the pain, worshiping instead of worrying. Get ready, greater is coming. God is about to do a new thing. Problems that look permanent are about to turn around. Dreams that look too far gone are about to come to pass. The right people, divine connections are going to find you. Greater is coming. The enemy thought he was pulling you back to keep you there. He didn't realize, like a bow and arrow, the more he pulls you back, the further God is going to shoot you. He thought he was hindering you. The truth is, he was helping you. The suffering was a setup. God allowed it so he can launch you to a new level of your destiny. Now, don't be discouraged by what you're going through. You couldn't become who you were created to be without the struggle, without the disappointment, without the bad break. I know it's uncomfortable. I know you don't like it, but keep reminding yourself, greater is coming.
At what point do you become stronger than your strongest excuse? Meaning, even when it's valid, you can use it, and it's probably wrong that it happened, but at what point do you become stronger than your strongest excuse? Because at a certain point, life is going to place everybody in a position to where you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. In 08, I'm sure it's a lot of people that went bankrupt because their foundation wasn't intact. The adversity that hit them, they didn't even know how strong they were. They didn't even know what they possessed.
What's the reason you've given yourself why you can't be successful and you can't be better? Let me tell you something I've learned. It's way easier to blame someone else than to get honest with yourself. What's the reason? What excuse have you bought into? What excuse have you believed that's not allowing you to live the life God's called you to live? I gotta have the courage to stop making excuses. I know a lot of our young people are overcoming disabilities, and I meet a lot of your children who struggle with ADHD, ADD, and are dyslexic. Let me tell you something. It's just something that you have to overcome, but God will use it to make you better. And let me tell you something. Most Americans don't have this kind of courage. I have to have the courage to stop making excuses.
You don't have time. You're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie. You have to accept that all your excuses are lies. That you tell yourself the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up. They're fabricated. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. The truth. The truth will set you free.
See, a lot of people never live their dreams. A lot of people never do the things they want to do. A lot of people stay on jobs where they're miserable. I read an article called, "Is Your Job Making You Sick?" Many of us choose an active living death. Many of us are walking dead.
The first thing you got to do in order for change to take place in your life is you got to have a desire to change. The second thing that you got to do if you want change in your life, you got to stop making excuses. Because an excuse will stop change. Are you hiding behind your veil of excuses, noticing that you're still the same? Do you continue to come up with excuses that continue to stop change? Because that's what excuses do. Excuses guarantee failure. Why? Because excuses won't let you enter into change. An excuse is an enemy to change. And we make a lot of them. An excuse is an enemy to change. Excuses are nails used to build a house of failure. It's going to fail. Let me give you a definition of the word excuse. An excuse is me removing myself from the path of blame. In other words, anytime I sense that blame is coming towards me, I've got to come up with a reason or an explanation to remove myself out of that path so it can hit somebody else. I'm not willing to stay in the past and accept responsibility for that. And what you're really saying is, I'm making an excuse because I ain't ready to change. And I'll continue to give you excuse after excuse after excuse because I'm not ready to make the change. Me moving myself out of the path of blame. And it's so easy to blame it on somebody else. To release the power to change, we must stop making excuses, or the power of change is stuck. It's stranded.
Can there still be legitimate reasons? Yes, there can. And for me, the difference, the line between an excuse and a reason is, an excuse is when you blame something that you could have controlled, and a reason is something that you have absolutely no control over whatsoever. So don't believe the lies, believe the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done. Listen to the truth. Then live the truth and go out and get it done.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. I'm gonna keep it so real with you, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. Get in shape. Get off the pity potty. It's time to take shit to another level. It's game on. It's focus. It's go season. I believe in you. It's time for you to take advantage of your America. You got a problem with your life. You got a problem with your environment. Do something about it. If you want it, go get it. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up.
Let me tell you something. It's easier to go from failure to success than it is from excuses to success. The moment you make excuses for your life, you take the exit off of where you're trying to go. Because excuses give you a reason for not being exceptional. It gives you a reason for not showing up. It gives you a reason for not delivering the goods. It gives you a reason for not being the person that you wanted to be. Remember this, excuses always shrink your stature. Excuses always pull you. Excuses are the quicksand in the land of the living. And the moment that you begin to excuse yourself and make it a lifestyle, you never can be a person of excellence, and you can never be a person of success. People that have excelled at the top of their profession because they shelved excuses and said, I will not use it, but I will be a person that pursues excellence in my life. Today, get rid of excuses. It's like this, my friend. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
That a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of places we would like to go, a lot of things we would like to experience, and we just stop at but, and we build a case. In fact, I was reading something the other day that talked about but. It says but is an argument for our limitations, and when we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. Always something there to build a case on why you can't move on, why you can't grow to the next level, why you can't begin to manifest your greatness, why you can't begin to live life on your terms. Always something there to block you, to keep you where you are, and keep you from beginning to develop your true greatness. Always some fear. How do we handle it? And I'm saying that if you've been hiding out behind but, if you've been using the fact that you don't have enough money or you don't have the education, take it head on. Go get the education. See, but will cause you to procrastinate. But will cause you to hide out behind fear. But will cause you to come up with all type of excuses that you can validate your inaction and not acting on your dream.
Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It's one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood, the day you accept full responsibility. I used to have that long list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. To explain. You got to explain, right? Otherwise you're going to look bad. See, I used to blame everything outside. And then let me give you a little philosophy that helped turn my life around. It's not what happens that determines the quality or the quantity of your life. It's not what happens. And the reason is because what happens to about everybody. No different. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do that changes everything. Disappointments are not special gifts reserved for the poor. Everybody has them. The difference is what you do about it. What can you do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference?
And right now, more than ever, people need to look for ways to live their dream. People need to look for ways to make it on their own. There is no such thing as job security. There's no such thing as a storm-proof or tragic-proof life. There are no guarantees today, ladies and gentlemen. The illusion is gone. There was a time when we graduated from high school, you were told, go to college and get out, and you go and work for a corporation for 30 or 40 years, they'll give you a gold watch and you'll retire. That day is gone, never to return again. So instead of people living in fear, feeling stressed out, feeling powerless, feeling like victims, I think it should be a time that we need to begin to look at ways that we can become an active force in our own lives. Look at ways when we can decide to take charge of our own destiny. Look at ways when we can decide to design a life of substance and begin to truly live our dreams. So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking, so that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training that's required, that you're going to go get that training, that you're going to get started right now.
Listen, getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us as his children the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich, and with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is here. I'm no better than none of y'all. I'm not a better person than you. I'm not a better Christian than you. God don't love me more than you. None of that. If you want to be successful, you have to change this. This has to change. Listen to me. It's not what makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter what your children think. It don't matter. They have nothing to do with it. This decision is yours and yours alone. It's two people born in a hospital every day. It's a person that's born in the hospital that's going to get a job, and somebody born in the hospital that's going to give them a job. You get to decide which one you're going to make. You get to decide. Let me tell you something. You get to decide if I'm going to be rich, poor, mediocre, plentiful, happy, sad. You have a decision to make. Your mind, all right, here we go. This is the teaching moment. Let me give you this so you can get on with your 2019. You walk in the house, you pick up the remote control. Let me teach you how this works. And you press the power button. When I told you 2019 will be the best year of your life, but you have to claim it. You have to expect it to be the best year of your life. You have to live your life with the expectation that great things are coming your way. And that's how it works. Now let me teach it to you. You grab your remote, you press the power button. What do you expect to happen? You expect the TV to come on. Guess what? It come on. If you want to see SportsCenter channel 46, and you press 46 and OK or select, what do you expect to come on your TV? SportsCenter. And guess what show up? SportsCenter. They got the concept of creating a remote from the Bible. See, God is tied to all of this. You better understand what I'm trying to tell you now. The Bible says a man is as he thinketh. God created us in his image. God thought of this world. He thought of it, so he created it. So he made you just like him, that your thoughts can create things. He made you just like him. Now you can't go make earth and heaven like he did, but you can make a better world for yourself. There is a scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry means take a long time, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. That's in the Bible. That ain't in the rich people's copy. That's in everybody's Bible. The problem is everybody don't do it. But it's right there. But you got to do it. I'm just telling you, if you don't do it, it's too hard. It's almost impossible. That vision board has changed my life. Everything I put on my vision board, I get. Everything. Now, you have to understand something. It's not going to come when you want it to come. It comes at an appointed time. That's the trick. But the appointed time is what throws people off. Because when you ask God for something, he sends it. He ships it immediately. As soon as you ask him something, you really believe he'll do it? He boxes it up and he ships it to you immediately. The problem with the package is he never gives you the date that the package is going to arrive. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. Because if he told you the date that the package would arrive, it would destroy the requirement he has of all of us, which is faith. Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. So if you ask God for $1 million and he tell you I'm gonna give it to you in March of 2020, you wouldn't need no faith. You'd be talking to people crazy because you know in 2020, I'm finna be a millionaire. But he sent $1 million as soon as you ask for it. But it's going to come at an appointed time. The problem is people stop waiting on the package. Then when it get to you, because he delivers only to Faith Street, when he delivers to you on Faith Street, but you done stepped off of Faith Street, you over here on I don't see how circle. He don't ship there. Instead of staying on Faith Street, you done stepped over here to I don't believe it Boulevard or it took too long Avenue. Then the package come to Faith Street. It's just like the post office and FedEx. If you ain't there to receive it, it got to go back. That's how it works, man. You have control of this. This belongs to you. This is yours. You're the captain. You're the master. You're the foreman. You're the general. You're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody, especially the devil. Do not let Satan come in here and function and operate, because he has one mission: to keep you off course, to make you not think it's possible, to make you think that God don't hear you. His job is only to destroy you, to make sure that you don't become what God intended for you to become. That's the mission of the devil. Now, if you don't believe in the devil, this conversation ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this conversation ain't for you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who are spiritually based. If you get control of this, that's why I'm telling you these two books. And look, the best book you can read is the Bible. If you read the book of Proverbs over and over and over, it's the book of wisdom and understanding. It would really help your life, man. If you just read, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's the only book in the Bible I've read cover to cover. I've only read the book of Proverbs. I've read some scriptures every now and then. I only know 5 or 6 scriptures by heart. I'm just gonna be real with you. But I've memorized them 5 or 6 scriptures, and them 5 or 6 got me here today. I know a lot of people that know the Bible inside out ain't got nothing to show for it. You know why? Because they memorized it, but they didn't apply it. I have applied 6 scriptures to change my life. But these books that I told you about, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale and The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, you know what it does? It just teaches you how this works. Once you get this, y'all, you can change everything. Do you understand? Negativity, let me just give you this and I'm gonna walk away. Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes. That's different from being negative, because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coat your mind from negativity, the way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing: gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity. I'm gonna show you how this works. If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm tripping, I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel, in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop, just stop for a second. And start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have. Because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. But the fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go somewhere and get yourself something to eat, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go and turn the key and call someplace home, that's another blessing. The ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you. God is good, man. You ought to give him a chance to work in your life. Thank y'all for coming.
You will win if you don't quit. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. As you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender. You have something that you brought to the universe. And that if you decide that my life deserves my developing this what I do well, and becoming the best at it and mastering myself and seeing what I have within me, if you decide to drop your buckets where you are and develop your gifts, I grant you, you'll never ever be without. I grant you that your gifts will take you places that will literally amaze you. I grant you that if you begin to work to develop your gifts, you'll develop a strong sense of happiness. You'll get a larger vision of yourself, because part of beginning to get a larger vision of yourself, all of us need some area of our lives where we can have a feeling of competence. That people know when they think about this area, that's something you do. That you eat and sleep that. And that you do that. You do that.
I want you to know that you matter. Yep, I said it. You. Not anybody else, but you. You matter. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to know what you do matters. When you brush your teeth in the morning, I want you to know that you matter. When you iron your clothes in the morning and you don't feel like getting out of bed, I want you to know that you matter. I want you to understand that you matter, because what you do could change somebody's life and the trajectory of what they can overcome. I want you to know that you matter because nobody ever told me that I mattered. I want you to know that you matter because you got people that's dependent on you right now. You may have some kids. You may have some younger siblings. You may have mom, dad, grandma, auntie. There's somebody out there that's dependent on you. So I want you to know that you matter. You have the ability. And you have the tools and the power and all of the amazing characteristics that are on the inside of you are ready to come out and come to fruition, and ready to see you walking your purpose and who you were called to be and what you were called to do. Because you and I are the aspirin to somebody's headache. How long are you gonna let them suffer? So I want you to know that you matter. Because I remember my 8th grade teacher told me I'll never be anything in life. I'll either be dead or in jail. So I want you to know that you matter. I'm telling you that I'm dependent on you because you matter. And nobody can tell you what you can't overcome if they've never been through it. So I want you to trust the process. I want you to stay 10 toes down. I want you to understand that you can prove them wrong, because I want you to know. So I need you to stay 10 toes down when all you have is you. All it takes is an ounce to believe in yourself. All it takes is an ounce to have the ability to recreate history and make it happen. Because you can't dream all day with no action. So I'm challenging you with staying 10 toes down, because you may feel like nobody supports you, because they told you that it would never happen. I need you to stay 10 toes down because you have the ability to do it. You can turn your dreams into a reality. You have the ability to leave a legacy. And I need you to stay 10 toes down because I'm dependent on you to turn your dreams into a reality. I need you to stay 10 toes down when nobody is clapping for you. I need you to stay 10 toes down when your back is against the wall and you have no choice or no opportunity, so you gotta come out swinging. Because I support you. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering for you from the sideline. I'm your biggest fan. I'm telling you that you can do it. I'm telling you that you're phenomenal and amazing and that you have the ability to recreate history, because I know that you can stay 10 toes down. I remember when my dad would call my grandmother and my grandmother would tell me that my father was coming to get me, and I would be so excited and all the emotions and all the feelings that I had, and he never came. I stood at the screen door for 2 or 3 days waiting on my father, hoping and wishing that he would come, and he never came. So I told myself as I got older that one day I'm gonna have kids, and my kids will never know what it feels like not to have their father, because I know what it feels like. I know what the heartbreak feel like. I know the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts and everything that you're going through. So I want you to know that you matter. I remember when my 8th grade teacher told me I'd never be anything. I remember when I got molested at 10 years old by my babysitter. I remember when my mom would text me, and she would text me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and tell me they putting a taser to my head. Do you feel that? But I still had to understand on what my calling and what my purpose was, because I had to understand that I mattered. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that even though you're facing adversity right now, even though there's something that's bothering you and there's something that's harming you right now in this very moment, I'm telling you that you matter.
The more isn't by radical self-acceptance of all your pathetic flaws.
Extreme Ownership, another book you can get. It's about personal responsibility and how that will make you win as a leader. So get that book if you don't have it yet. And if you don't have it, if you have it and you want your team to be better, get the book for your team so that they start taking ownership of the problems, and then the problems start getting solved. Discipline Equals Freedom, field manual. It's out. Thanks to everyone that bought it and made it into a bestseller, a New York Times bestseller, a Wall Street Journal bestseller. Those things are cool. Guess what? Appreciate all you out there buying the book, spreading the word. Everyone that sent pictures of 12 books stacked up that you're buying for everyone on your team or everyone you know, or you're buying them for Christmas and your dad and your uncle. Thank you for doing that. Because not only did it help the book do well and continue to help the book do well, it's also going to help those people out, in my opinion.
Agree.
Not that everyone's going to get it. Some people are going to go, this book is stupid.
Impossible.
You know,
Look at it.
And what we talked about earlier, some people read the book and they go, oh, I already knew that. Well, of course you did, but why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? Because someone obviously thinks you need to do it. So, okay, you get it. That's fine. Yeah. You know what you're supposed to do. Guess what? We all know what we're supposed to do. We all know what's going to improve our station in life and what's going to make it worse. Why aren't you doing the things that you're supposed to do? Question. I don't know.
Now you got a manual.
I actually do know. You want to know why? Because you lack the discipline. You lack the discipline to do the things you know you're supposed to do. Don't.
Oh, you might also lack the fear. It's like it actually matters if you don't do it. It matters if you leave things undone. You leave the world in an uncompleted state. And it hurts. It hurts you, it hurts your family, it hurts your society, and it hurts the world. So if you're laying there being useless and not getting at it, then you're contributing to the catastrophe. And it's that simple. So it actually matters if you do it. And I think sometimes people don't do it because they don't understand that. You know, they're down on themselves. They don't think they matter. It's like, you matter a lot more than you think you do. And actually that's rather frightening. You know, because you think, well, wouldn't it be nice if everybody mattered? It's like, you got to think that through. If what you do matters, you better look out. So get at it, because you're going to pay for it if you don't. So...
Thank you. Yes, I obviously agree with that. And a lot of people have been asking for the audio version. And like I said, it's on the MP3 platforms. It's on Google Play, iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify.
Yes.
Spotify. I think you can ask your Alexa to play it, right? If you have that digital thing in your...
If it's on Amazon Music, I think it automatically does it. I don't know for sure, but, you know.
If you need some leadership support, training at your team or your business, Echelon Front, that is the leadership consulting company. It's me, Leif Babin, JP Donnell, Dave Burke. info@echelonfront.com. We'll come and get after it with you and your leadership team. If you want to keep this conversation going, you can hit all of us up on the interwebs, on Twitter, Instagram, and on the Facebook. Echo is at Echo Charles. I am at Jocko Willink. And Jordan is Jordan B. Peterson on Twitter, Jordan B. Peterson on YouTube, and Dr. Jordan B. Peterson on Facebook. And like I said, you also have the podcast as well. Echo, do you have any closing thoughts?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for the invitation. It's been great.